It's 3:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 21:13 GMT time, and we're looking at the 1 hour chart of the pound dollar, and the chart is displayed in GMT time. So this current bar, it's displaying it's 21:13 or 3:13 Eastern Standard Time. Okay. When I last contacted you, we were within the throes of this bar, and we were looking for a higher close, a close in this bar higher than the high of this bar and above a 61.8 Fibonacci to give us a buy signal or on a bull pivot. But we never got that signal, so we're not in the market. We never got the setup, and thus so we never got the trigger. And now, after this bar, we came down and we tested the low of the day, and we tested the low of the day twice here, and so after this bar, so altogether today we've got 3 touches at this level here, which is the low of the day. And in the Laws of Charts and Men video, the videos on trading the daily range, then you know what this would mean to our trading from this point forward. But however, it's near the end of the day, and I usually don't like to trade this time of the day because this is the we're getting close to stop hunt time, because volume is going to start to thin out. But we can see here that 2 bars ago we did have a bullish pivot reversal bar here, and we did close above the 61.8 fib. And since we've already tested the low of the day a couple of times on the 1 hour basis, I would anticipate price to try to move up from here and maybe test the low one more time, simply because we're so near the close of the day. But this is our 1 hour pivot reversal bar here, and actually on the 1 hour chart this is a bullish signal here. And then the bar that followed it, the next 1 hour bar subsequently, it tested this fib level here, but it did so on lower volume. So now what we have is a pivot reversal breakout. Then we have a test of the pivot point here, come down, we close up near 61.8 fib on higher volume, and so we have a pivot, we've tested the pivot. Now where would our target be from here once we get a trigger to enter here? Well, once again, we have this consolidation here, which is a low, a prior low, and when we broke below it down here, okay, we need to come back and test this level before we can continue down. See, once we broke down below it, these bars here never came back and tested it. We would have liked to have seen one of these subsequent bars come back up and touch this which is now resistance level, and then fall back down if we were to be looking for a strong continuation down right now. So from this point, I'm looking for a correction on up to at least where we have first overhead resistance here at this 50% fib level. But as we talked about earlier, we don't want to just look at one time frame. And now let's just look at how this plays out on our 4 hour chart. And we switch to our 4 hour, and we can see here that our bullish signal from the 1 hour, well, we don't have a bullish signal yet, but we have an early indication of some bullish things happening here. And from the Archimedes principle, volume, our volume price spread here, we can see that this bar here, though this 4 hour bar closed down, I know this says 1 hour, but we don't have to switch it. This is 4 hour now. Before we were on the 1 hour, but see how this bar, it did not close below the low of this prior bar here, and it also has lower volume. So we would have to consider this bar a stopping bar, a bar that is stopping the downward momentum. And so when you put on the brakes in a car, it doesn't stop immediately on a dime. You gradually fall to a stop. And so now we have a turning bar Okay, and this turning bar here, uh, it's green, it's an up bar, so that tells us that this stopping bar is confirmed. Now this is not a buy signal, this is not a go long signal, but it tells you that the market is no longer weak. And if it's no longer weak, then it must be what? Displaying strength. Okay, so uh, now that we know we're in a bullish situation here, if we want to drop down and not just wait for a pivot off of the 4-hour time frame, because it may end up here somewhere and you can miss out on the move. So we look to our 1 hour again, and we're looking for a trigger to go along here, and the trigger that I would look for is a close above here, 61% Fibonacci, and that's at around 98.40, 98.41 level. So I would look for a strong close on the 1 hour above the 61% fib level here, and see, now we've already tested 23.6 and we've tested it really twice here. So on the way back up, we should be able to break this, because that'll be the third test, and typically most times the third time is the charm. And but keep in mind, any long trade initiated down here is a little bit more risky, because as we can see, the trend, the 1 hour trend is down at the moment, because we're making lower highs and we've made a lower low. So really we want to be looking for a short once we get up around 50 or 61% Fibonacci here. But if we want to take a chance and trade counter trend, I'm showing you how you want to look at the market. And so at the close of this 1 hour bar at 2200 GMT, or at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we may have a signal here if we close above. And now let's talk about time of day for a minute. Since we're getting into the Asian session, this notorious stop hunt session, I would not take this trade personally, because I just don't like trading that time of day. But the indications right now are strong, especially when everything else is looking good. I think I've got my bearings on everything else. It's then that I'll switch down to an indicator such as stochastics, and this stochastic is turning up here after laying in bed all day, and it's breaking out right when we have a bullish pivot here. And I know most of you don't know what a bullish pivot is, and you're really not supposed to. I mean, that's why you need to get Laws of Charts and Men and Archimedes principle. But the main thing I want you to focus on anytime you're hearing these updates is that, notice how the principles that I speak of, they pretty much work. And this is really what I'm trying to get across to you right now, is to display real time, and instead of talking about it, showing you that it does actually work. I don't know a lot of information providers out there that are doing these type of things that I'm doing, unless they charge you money for each and every, so I don't want to get into that too much, but I'm predicting long here, and a stop if we get a trigger, because we already have our long set up, we have our bull pivot, and we've had our test on low volume, and now for our trigger we want to see a strong close on the 1 hour above 61.8. If that happens, we can jump in at the close if it's not too far away from 61.8, because we want to enter as close to 61.8 as possible. And then if we do get a trigger, we would place our stop below the low of the day, 6 to 11 pips below the low of the day, just to be safe. And then we would look to, at the close of each bar, we would look for weakness, because we're buying strength. So once we're in the market for an hour, if the close of that bar displays weakness, then we may want to get out of the trade. And we don't have to always wait until price hits our stop. Many times price will give us a signal before our stop, and really the biggest problem that LCM solves for traders is that when you, especially when you add Archimedes, the volume principles in there,